So I'm not seeing real estate prices go backwards. I'm seeing them move up still. It's just taking a little bit longer than it was before.
Folks, welcome to the Cobb TV studio. I'm here with Cobb County's Chief Appraiser, Stephen White, and it's that time of year. It's spring. You always seem to pop up in the spring for a very good reason, I think. What have you been up to?
Well, we're meeting this week with the jurisdictions to let them know what we think is going to happen to the tax digest. We provide a projection at the end of March every year, and so we're meeting to let them know that our projection for the 2023 tax digest is going to be 13% over the digest that was submitted in 2022.
So describe how that compares to last year.
So that's very similar to the digest that concluded last year. Last year's digest countywide was up about 12.5%. So it's going to be very similar to the digest that we saw last year. And that's broken out into three different segments. Of course, residential, that we're all familiar with. We will see about 175,000 properties see a change in value. The residential market is still moving very strongly in Cobb County. We also had a complete countywide commercial revaluation. So about 10,000 properties in commercial will see an increase in value as well. The commercial market continues to perform very strong. And so that's really one of the big drivers for this year's tax digest increase. But additionally, our personal property tax digest, a segment of the tax digest that's solely business assets, that is seeing a large increase this year as well. And businesses continue to invest in their companies, increase the amount of assets that they have, and that is contributing towards the personal property side.
So I'm a Cobb County resident, and I am a Cobb County resident watching this video at home. What should I take from these numbers?
I think that we could take that the real estate market continues to move very strong. I have a really nice slide that shows the amount of increase that the average sale price in Cobb County has had here over the last 5 years, since 2018 all the way to 2022. Because keep in mind, the tax digest that we're dealing with right now is a status of the properties on January 1, 2023. So we look at the activity that occurred during calendar year 2022 to arrive at today's tax digest. And as we see from this slide, our average sale price, and this is just one indicator of the real estate market, but the average sales price in residential is up about $50,000 compared to where it was last year. So that's just one good way of looking at it. We can take a little bit step further and look at this slide. This is the average sale price by month. And you can see we really peaked in the summer, which is normal. Real estate market is very strong, very active. People want to get their house sold, get the kids in school, etc. But we'll see that we ended the year about $450,000 for the average sale price, which was still higher than where we were at a year ago, which is about $400,000.
So how do you come to these numbers? What do you do to get to those numbers?
Well, what we do is we take a look at all the sales activity that occurred in each and every property that's sold throughout the calendar year. All real estate markets are local. Each subdivision is going to perform and act differently from one another, depending on where it's at, location, and other things that go into the value, the age of the home, the size of the home, all these factors that play into sales prices. So we look at all those characteristics, and that's how we develop where the sales prices are for the neighborhood and where our value was last year. Is it in need of adjusting? Are the sales prices showing us that the value that we have on the books for all properties needs to be increased neighborhood by neighborhood?
A lot of people always ask, why do you do this? Why do you do this every year? Why do you have to come and look at my house? Why do you have to be in my neighborhood? But you have to.
We have to, right. That's the law, so that's the number one reason. The law says that we have to maintain fair market value on all properties. We are also reviewed by oversight agencies. The Department of Revenue provides a review of our operation, and if we aren't keeping up with fair market value, the county can get fined. Additionally, the Department of Audits and Accounts for the state of Georgia, they review our digest each year. And if we're not keeping up, we can get a bad report for them, which affects the way that we value public utility, and we can be penalized as a county based on how we're valuing public utility properties, which would be a loss in revenue to the county.
And how do you do this? Do you pick one part of the county each quarter, or do you spread out, or how does that work?
I have a map that shows the work that we have done so far and where the changes are occurring neighborhood by neighborhood. And you'll see from this map, the changes are all over the county. We look at every neighborhood every year and determine what are the sales prices and what are our value. And if there's separation between the sales price and our values, then it's time to bring our value up to the sales in the neighborhood. And that's how we determine if that neighborhood needs to get changed. And as you can see from our map that we have here, those changes are all over the county.
In my neighborhood, and I know just talking to people in general, these numbers may be surprising to them because last year it seemed like you'd put a house up for sale in the neighborhood, it'd be gone. You put it up Monday, it'd be gone by Thursday. Right. Now you put it up Monday, it may be gone in a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so. It seems like, and you listen to the news, which at times can be a little bit depressing and maybe a little bit out of whack with reality, but it seems like things are slowing down. But your numbers paint a different picture. So what would you tell the people about why that may be?
That's a great question. I think that the amount of time that it's taking to sell a home is a little bit longer than it was perhaps 12 months ago. But the sales prices, we're not really seeing a change there. So instead of selling your home in 5 hours, maybe it takes 5 days. Instead of being able to get 100% of your asking price, I'm noticing now that properties are selling for about 97, 98% of the asking price. However, the sales prices themselves continue to outperform year after year. And so taking a look again at that slide where our average price over the past 5 years, prices continue to move up, which means home values continue to move up.
So do you think any of those indicators that you're seeing, instead of getting 100 or 105%, you're getting 95, 97%? Does that mean next year's numbers may be lower than this, or is it too soon to tell?
I think that I like to look at the real estate market in terms of an automobile. Right now, let's say we're moving ahead at 55 miles an hour. Maybe next year we're moving ahead at 45 miles an hour, but we're still moving ahead. And so I think that what we're seeing today is just an indicator that perhaps we may not have as much growth next year, but we're still moving forward. So I'm not seeing real estate prices go backwards. I'm seeing them move up still. It's just taking a little bit longer than it was before.
Have you had a chance to compare notes with fellow assessors in the metro area and how it looks compared to them?
I have. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation today with 2 chief appraisers in the metro area. Very similar numbers. All of us are seeing strong real estate markets. Metro Atlanta is a very popular place to want to live, work, and play. And so I think that as we continue to have this desirability, and especially in Cobb County, where people want to live here, we have stable government, low property tax rate, great school system, many things that bring people to Cobb continue to work in our favor and continue to make sure that our real estate prices move north.
You and I have discussed, based on some media inquiries in the past, about the number of people who appeal their assessments and what that number looked like last year compared to a normal year.
Yeah, our appeal rate continues to be very, very low. We have 239,000 residential properties, about 2,000 properties appeal in the residential market, 3,000. So it's about 1 to 2%, somewhere in there, of our total residential count, which is pretty low. Industry standard is much higher in the tax assessment field. However, I think that our website really helps a lot of people see what sales prices really are, because many of us don't look in our neighborhood as to what the sales activity is until we get the assessment notice. Then we go look and, wow, things really are selling for that amount. So I think our website has really helped people see, yeah, the sales prices really are up there.
Yeah, I'm one of those who's been assessed a little bit higher in recent years, and I've done exactly that. I've gone on, looked, and I'm like, I'm actually in the ballpark. So
good.
And when you brief the cities and the other organizations, what's their reaction been so far this year?
I think that people are pleased that they are seeing their number one asset in Cobb County continue to increase. That's certainly a great feature of a strong real estate market, is our homes, generally our number one asset, is doing very, very well and performing very, very well. So from that side of it, it's great news.
All right. Well, thanks for the update on the Tax Digest. But as usual, I guess we will see you again in the not too distant future.
You will. I will come back when we mail residential notices. This year, we're slated to mail assessment notices on May the 11th. So I will try and come back shortly before then. And we'll have some information as well on Governor Kemp's property tax relief measures that he passed. Many of our viewers may have heard about that in the news, and we'll kind of explain that in a little bit greater detail on how that's going to provide property tax relief to Cobb taxpayers.
All right. Thank you, Chief Assessor Stephen White, for your annual update on Cobb County's Tax Digest. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.